yada la 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 la, yada la, yada la la la, yada la la la, yada la la, yada la, yada la la la, yada la, yada la 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 la, yada la la la, yada la la. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's nice to see you. It's nice to get together to celebrate Shabbat. And as we walk into our synagogue, we start by recognizing our togetherness. You can find the words for Ine Matov Umanaim on page 129. How good it is for all of us to be here together.
ומנעים שבטחים גם יחד. הנה מתוק ומנעים שבטחים גם יחד. הנה מתוק ומנעים שבטחים גם יחד. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day.
הנה מתוק ומנעים שבטחים גם יחד. הנה מתוק ומנעים שבטחים גם יחד. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום.
How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is
how sweet it is
to be together
on this day. How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. הנה מתוק ומנעים שבטחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So we are starting a very special Shabbat. If all the Shabbatot, if all our Friday night celebrations are special, this Shabbat celebration is even more special. Today we are celebrating Serenity Shabbat, a Shabbat in which we acknowledge those that are dealing with addictions. We also express that this house is open and that we're to help everybody to find its way in this house. So, in order to start our Shabbat celebration, I'd like to invite Marla, Cindy, and Jane to light Shabbat candles. You can follow the lighting candle on page 120. And why don't you introduce yourself also? Well, sorry. why don't you say who you are and what you do? Just, no, just say who you are, what you do.
I'm Marla Kaufman, and some of you may remember we were here several months ago, Cindy and I, giving a book set on addiction recovery, and we're back for Serenity Shabbat. I'm the founder and executive director of Jewish Addiction Awareness Network and the chair of the Orange County Jewish Substance Abuse Task Force. And Cindy, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Cindy Anderson. I'm clinical director at Jewish Federation and Family Services. I'm very happy to be here.
Some of you know me. My name is Jane Beavis, and I am Temple Beth Tikvah's representative to the Jewish Substance Abuse Task Force.
So thank you very much, and you can light candles. Let's say the blessing. We got some music, so you can do it like slowly. Take your time. It's Serenity Shabbat. We are very serene. Now you can follow Marla, Cindy, and Jane on page 120. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Thank you for all the light that you bring. Shabbos. Shabbos. Now we are going to turn our Siddurim to page 129. I want to show you something. I want to learn something together. We sing the words of Dodi li, Bani lo arroe. We say Ani le Dodi, Vedodi li. I am. So an interesting thing is that Ani, Aleph, le Dodi, Lamed, Ve, Vav, Dodi, li. It's an acronym of the what word? Elul, the month of Elul. It's an acronym of the word, the month of Elul. And we remember during the month of Elul that in order to embrace any deep change in our lives, we need to be surrounded by the supportive presence of love. So we start this Shabbat thinking about love and supportive presences in our lives on page 129, Dodi li.
Dodi li, va'ani lo aroe b'shoshanim. Dodi li, b'zot ona, min hamidbar, b'zot ona, min hamidbar. Dodi li, ba'ani lo aroe b'shoshanim. Dodi li, mekoteret mor,
thinking of how to celebrate, how to receive the seventh day. We turn our Siurim to page 134. We come to welcome Shabbat with all the sounds of our existence, with our internal diversity. On page 134, Samru LaAdonai.
Samru l'Adonai bechino, bechino v'kol zimna, b'chatotrot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai.
And after talking about the diversity of the sounds of our existence, during Shabbat, in Kabbalat Shabbat, we sing 7 Mizmorim, 7 psalms, in front of 7 days of creation. On the 6th day, the one that comes before Lechadodi, we remember what happened in the 6th day of creation. What? Yeah, humans were created. So before moving into the Chadodi, we will take a moment to think about human stories, the diversity of human stories. So we have some stories that were written in the context of a Serenity Shabbat that was done in Temple Bethel, that they have the kindness to share with us, and we'll share some of these stories, and we will be inspired to walk into Shabbat with the diversity and the hope of human stories.
I'm a professional musician. No?
It's not working, right? No, because it's mute. Let's do it again.
Try again.
Okay, no, still mute. Okay, you should be fine.
There we are. Hear me all right?
Just hold
Okay.
it. Like,
I'm a professional musician who drank and drugged his way to the bottom when I had every opportunity to make it to the top. By the time I got sober, no one wanted me around. Loving, well-meaning people said stuff like, Jason, if you just get sober, you'd be okay. I knew they were wrong. I was okay, as long as I wasn't sober. There came a time, however, when it just wasn't fun anymore. But I just stopped. I did everything I could to get on it. It went for many years. I went to visit my cousins, nice religious folk, 5 kids, and while I was seizure in the kitchen and blacked out. When the ambulance came, I caused a scene in the neighborhood and was taken to the hospital in handcuffs, kicking and screaming. My brother, who was at the time sober 3 years, took me in with the caveat that I get a job and go to AA meetings. I got a sponsor and worked the program. Even though I relapsed after some years of sobriety, I soon got sober again. It's been 6 years now, and I'm back in the music business with my focus on serving my community.
I'm a daughter and a sister. I'm an A student attending college. I'm a leader of young women. I'm a preschool teacher. I'm an upright, respected member of my community. I'm the good child. I'm the daughter who watches her mother struggle every day. I'm the daughter who watches her mother hide her tears. I'm the daughter who asks for nothing, as I know that there's nothing left to give. I am a sister of an addict.
I am a person in long-term recovery. What that means to me is that I have not found it necessary to pick up a drink since February 10th, 2003. I was 18 at the time, and given the option to be homeless and cut off from my family, who are also in long-term recovery, or go to treatment, I chose treatment. If you had asked me at 18 what type of life I would want to have when I am in my 30s, I would have sold myself short. I am over 14 years sober with more friends than I can count. My loving family is back in my life, and I am able to reconnect with my Judaism in a way that I never have before, and I get to help other young people struggling with the same things that I was struggling with. I absolutely love the life that God has given me today as a result of getting out of the way and allowing Him to work in my life.
Stories, and with the inspiration of human diversity, strength, and hope, we turn our Sidurim to page 138 for Lechadodi. Lechadodi, 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 לקראת כלה.
בני שבת לקבלה.
Lechadodi, Lechadodi,
לקראת כלה. בני שבת לקבלה. שמוע וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה.
Lechadodi, 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 לקראת כלה. בני שבת נקבלה. Lechadodi, 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 לקראת כלה. בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, גבעה הולך, קומי הורי.
אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לחדודי, 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 לקראת כלה.
בני שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשוחחי ומה תדעי. בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר על תלה. לחדודי, 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 לקראת כלה. בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום, עצרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה. תוך אמוני הסגולה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לחדודי, לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. You may be seated. And as we have welcomed Shabbat, I invite you to turn to each other and to say Shabbat Shalom, welcome. You can stand up and even move from where you are sitting. Can you play Hurry Up Shabbat or something? Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
I'm a song leader. I'm a song leader, especially for the youth. I teach music to the children, and then occasionally Rabbi will have me come on as musician. Yeah. A vocalist. Thank you. And your name is? Dawn.
And now, yes. I invite you to start to take a place in your chair again, or actually to rise. We turn our Sidurim to page 146. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Please rise. Can you listen in to
My prayer,
Can you hear my voice? Can you understand?
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. You may be seated. We're on page 148. And we think about the transition between day and night, and you can find in our additional pages the words of roll into dark. Roll into dark, roll into light.
Night becomes day, day turns to night, roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei yom. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mifnei choshech, golel or mifnei choshech, vechoshech mifnei or.
Baruch atah Adonai Amarihi v'aravihim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. There is, before the Shema, we try to think about something that makes us feel deeply loved. And in the context of this Serenity Shabbat, we remember the healing power of love, of our loving presence, of our ability to feel surrounded by love. So we will do an alternative prayer for Abbat Olam today, and we will sing the words of We Are Loved that you have in the alternative pages.
We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love.
We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. And I invite you to close your eyes just for a moment and to think about the presence of that unending love in your life. It might be a moment, it might be a person. And while recognizing that unending love, try to picture it and to place it tied to your chest. To take a deep breath. Breathe in and out. And again, breathe in and out. In Hebrew, the word breath and the word soul are almost the same word. Neshima and neshama. Neshima that brings life to our being. And again, take a deep breath. As we say, dear God, never remove your love from us. Baruch Ata Adonai Ohev Amo Israel. Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. And once again, take a deep breath and become one. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 We turn our Sidurim to page 154. Let's chant together.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לתותבות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם כראשים אלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת, אמת מול הכל סוד וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. We continue with a silent reading over page 156. Think about the Israelites escaping from Egypt, thinking that they are going to be finally liberated. They are going to find freedom. And all of a sudden, they meet the Red Sea. And the obstacle looks impossible. They can't see the other side. There's no way to see the other side. And what is needed in order to embrace that obstacle is the faith, is to believe that there is another side, and that we need to take the walk and start walking the scary waters. So in this Friday of Serenity Shabbat, we think about the courage to enter in these waters and in the faith that there is another side and that there is a promise for redemption. On page 158, Michamocha.
כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלת, נורא תהילות אוסף אלת, היי היי היי, מלכותך רבה לך, בוקע ים לפני משה מרים, זה אלינו ואמנו, כמוך בלב אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלת, נורא תהילות אוסף אלת, היי היי היי, מלכותך רבה בך, בוקע ים לפני משה מרים, זה אלינו ואמנו, אוי זה אלינו ואמנו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, צור ישראל. ונאמר כיפה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חסג ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. I felt the chesed, the loving kindness of morning, and I went directly into the michamocha of the morning.
we turn our theory into page 160, and as we daven Ashkivenu, you also can find the alternative words of "O God, my steps" that we are going to use in this special night.
Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. And help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Ufros aleinu sukat shalom lecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shalom lecha.
Aleinu
Guide my
sukat
steps.
shalom lecha.
Guide my steps.
Ufros aleinu
My steps.
sukat shalom
Guide my
lecha.
steps.
And again.
Oh, guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise.
Sukat shalom
Guide
lecha.
my steps.
Ufros
Find my way. I
aleinu
need your shelter now.
sukat
Wrap me in your
shalom
arms and guide my
lecha.
steps.
ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Blessed are you, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. And before we turn our Sidurim and start Filat Amidah, there is a, for Filat Amidah today, we brought alternative pages. So once we start with Filat Amidah, you can choose to go with the traditional text on page 165, or you can use the alternative Filat Amidah, Filat Amidah for healing. So you can use whatever feels comfortable to you. And you can also just take a moment for a personal conversation with God, with your soul. Just take a moment for your personal prayer. But we will introduce Tfilat Amidah today with the words of Eli Eli and a special melody. So we'll sing Eli Eli, and then you can choose to stand or to sit for Tfilat Amidah, for your moment of personal prayer. So you have the words of Eli Eli written in the additional pages. Tell me that you find them. Show me with your heads. Do this. You did. Okay.
Never mind.
That.
Okay, great. Eli, Eli, שלא ייגמר לעולם, החובר היום, רישרוש של המים, ורק
ולמאים ורק השמיים תפילת אדם תפילת Nada, aquí por la lámpara, ahí me digo. ¿Te quedas? ويبقى احنا شطرنا في الأولى نبلغ وتين في مطل العلم أترو خيال ما كان شيء نطل May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. We are on page 180 for Shabbat Shalom. Oh, Shalom
tevet meimu imru. Amen.
At the end of Tfilat Amidah, we dedicate a moment to acknowledge there are people among our community that are dealing with illness. And we are going to do a special Misheverach tonight, using the words that Moses says for his sister. He says, Elna refana la. Can you try it? Elna refana la. He's desperate. He's asking for healing, and he looks at God and says, Elna refana la. He's begging, please heal her. This one of the most moving is a sentence. It's one sentence. But it's one of the most real moments, honest moments that Moses has, in my feeling, in the entire Torah. So we will use the words Elna Refana La, and we will use the Misheverach of our friend or Zohar. You have the words of this special Misheverach in the alternative pages. So we're gonna teach you the first part, and then we will sing it all the way through, and you can join us. But before we do that, you can start playing the melody lightly, very light, very light. So if you're lighter than that. So if you have, great, that's perfect. So if you're thinking of somebody that is dealing with illness, dealing with the illness in his or her body, dealing with illness in his or her soul, somebody who is dealing with addictions, you can say the name, or you can think to yourself that you can bring his or her spirit to this room, and we as a loving community will pray for their recovery.
Annette Gottheimer.
So we pray for all the names that were mentioned out loud, and for all the names that came to our hearts. Elna Refana La.
me the courage to change the things I can, and God grant me the wisdom to know the difference. El Naref Analah, 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 El Naref Analah.
We wish to all of them a complete and a fast recovery. רפואה שלמה והחלמה מהירה. כן יהי רצון. So good Shabbos, everyone. This is not the first time that this happens to me. I'm cool with this. Okay, here we are. What about my sermon? This is the first time that's happening to me. Have you seen a sermon? I do have my sermon. Okay. That was bad. I think I shared once we spoke about fears, and I said that one of my biggest fears is to forget my sermon. And that and it happened to me a couple of times. I just said that. But in the high holidays, I have a few people with copies of my sermon, so just in case. And I change the copies a few times. So 5 minutes before the services, I give them new copies and say, well, they have different marks. And so they know about some of my obsessions. We live Seder. We were okay. So, Parashat Ki Titzeh is one of the richest Torah portions in the entire Torah, counting 74 out of 613 commandments. A huge variety of laws is described in this portion, from rules of war to Shiluach Aken, which is the mitzvah that commands us to send away the bird before taking any of the eggs or young birds from the nest. Among these 74 mitzvot, there is one that I'd like to explore with you, due to its particular importance in the context of Serenity Shabbat. I'm talking about the mitzvah of a Shabbat Avedah, returning lost objects. In Deuteronomy chapter 22, we read, "You shall not see your brother's ox or sheep straying and ignore them. Rather, you shall return them to your brother. But if your brother is not near you, or if you do not know him, you shall bring it into your house, and it shall be with you until your brother seeks it out, whereupon you shall return it to him." Rashi, the medieval commentator, explains that Torah says, "Be'italamta," you shall not ignore it. And then Rashi says, "One shall not close his eyes as though he does not see." The Talmud also remarks the issue of ignoring it. Why was it necessary to stipulate that one may find his way out of this mitzvah in this manner, like closing one's eyes? After all, it is a positive commandment to return lost items to their owner. Why, on top of a positive commandment, should we be reminded not to ignore that commandment? The Torah apparently assumes that even though it is a law to take responsibility for that we recognize as lost, we are likely to close our eyes. It seems that despite having clear instructions from Torah, things out of their place make us feel very uncomfortable. Maybe because they challenge our own space. And then the rabbis in the Talmud take it to a completely different level. The Torah teaches that one must return lost property to its rightful owner. In fact, this applies even when the lost item is a person who has lost himself. Ish asher ived et atzmo ladat, says the Talmud. The verse states, and you shall restore it, b'shavato, to him. You need to return him to himself, which can also be read as, and you shall restore him, b'shavato, to him. The Talmud clearly states that when somebody loses himself, our obligation is to recognize this person, to help, to protect, to hold until he or she finds his way back and can return. Or in other words, until this person is ready to do teshuvah. A Shabbat Avedah, the mitzvah that we are learning about right now, and teshuvah, Lashiv teshuvah, come from the same root in Hebrew. So we are called to be partners, to be angels in the teshuvah process of those that are lost and in need of finding their way back. But teshuvah has an additional layer tonight, which will move us from the personal level to the community one. Serenity Shabbat was born out of the understanding that those dealing with addictions for many years did hear a clear statement or find the Jewish community as a place that was willing to hold them, to be there when they were lost. As our Torah portion explains, sometimes when we feel challenged, and even though our moral obligation commands us differently, we tend to look in the opposite direction. As Rashi said, we might close our eyes in order to avoid facing what reality is placing in front of us. We tend to forget that any of us can find himself lost. Initiated by thoughtful Jews that took upon themselves the mission of raising the level of supportive engagement in our community, Serenity Shabbat is today, in my opinion, a symbol of our teshuvah as a community, and also the clear expression of our willingness to say, we're here, we will pray with you and for you. We want to support you and accompany you. You are one of us. You are not alone. We need to work in order to bring our communities to become a part of the solution, a shelter of support and love, instead of an additional challenge that people dealing with addictions need to face. During this time of the year, just a few weeks before the high holidays, in which we are so focused on thinking about our journeys and on rectifying our ways, we repeat the words of our Torah portion, Lo tuchal leitalem. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. We can't ignore it. Let us work to trade the devastating impact of indifference for the healing power of our loving presence. of opening our eyes widely, looking at each other and saying, Hineni, I am here for you, and you can repeat after me, Hineni. Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to invite Marla Kaufman to say a few words. She's the mother of Serenity Shabbat. You have a microphone here, Marla. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. I have to say that we had, this is, I don't know, maybe the seventh Serenity Shabbat, and for someone who felt, as Rabbi Nico described, very marginalized and not supported by the Jewish community when our family had to face our son's struggles with addiction 12 years ago. It doesn't get old to be at a Serenity Shabbat. I don't think it ever will be. I think even 10 years from now, it will still be fresh and new and a miracle. I feel like it's a miracle. And I know that there are people in the room who are also in recovery or have loved ones that suffer from the disease, and it is a disease, who are probably feeling pretty good right now as well. You know, Rabbi Nico, you mentioned community, and I'm extremely proud of our community because about 3 years ago there was none of this going on at all. And there may be a few of us who thought that things should happen and things should be different, but the entire community has gotten behind it. I want to talk about Temple Beth Tikvah in particular for a moment, and then about the wider Jewish community. Rabbi Nico and Miriam have been, behind this from the moment that we started talking about it. Rabbi Nico wasn't satisfied with just having a Serenity Shabbat. He wanted to do an entire series before Serenity Shabbat called Being Human. And a lot of you probably went to a lot of those great speakers, and one of them was Rabbi Paul Steinberg, who spoke about recovery in Judaism. And now we're here at Serenity Shabbat, and some of you may have heard me tell my story when we came, Cindy Anderson and I. I want to introduce Cindy. Again, Cindy Anderson from Jewish Federation and Family Services, my partner in all of this work. When we came here to give the book set, and now we're here for Serenity Shabbat, and I know that Rabbi Nico is very open to hosting a 12-step meeting here. We do have some 12-step meetings in Jewish spaces, but not in North County, so we're working on that. So I just want to say your congregation has been fantastic with all of this. And I have to say that almost our entire community has gotten behind this. It's a lot of this, the majority of the synagogues. We have this task force that meets quarterly, and there's a representative from almost every synagogue, and they make sure that things happen on this issue, within their congregation. But it's not just the synagogues. It's our institutions, our Jewish Federation and Family Services. It's our Jewish Community Foundation, which has funded 3 initiatives. The first one was a clergy addiction education workshop, which Rabbi Nico attended. And the second one was our book sets, where we put 10 books on addiction recovery, 6 of them from a Jewish viewpoint, in every synagogue library. The collection is in your library, so you could go check them out. And the third one, my organization, Jewish Addiction Awareness Network, was just funded to write a curriculum, a Jewish sensitivity curriculum training for addiction and treatment specialists, mental health providers, and physicians. We'll be doing that and piloting it here. So all of this has been piloted in this community, and I just want to share with you that other communities are taking a lot of notice. And I've been privileged to take the Clergy Addiction Education Workshop to Houston, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and we'll be going to Detroit and Cleveland in October. And people want to know what we're doing here. We're a model for other Jewish communities in the country, and I think that's something to be very proud of. So there could be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, a group of us that wanted to bring this programming, but we couldn't do it. They say it takes a village, it takes a community, and this community has a lot to be proud of. And as the mother of somebody who struggles with substance use disorder, I want to thank you, because I felt very, very alienated, so much so that I became unaffiliated for 4 years, which was pain on top of all the pain. I'll give you an update, because I know I talked about my son when I was here last time. He's very much in recovery with over 17, 18 months, very much back in our lives, will be with us for Rosh Hashanah. You know, he's come back to us. And recovery is a beautiful thing. And there's someone in this room who knows from the beginning what we went through. And I thought it was the worst thing that could happen in my life. I have to tell you, recovery is a beautiful lifestyle. And not only is the person who suffers from the disease in recovery, but if the family's brave enough, they become in recovery too. And our lives, my husband and I and our younger son, who doesn't have the disease, we've been enriched. We've been enriched by this experience, which most people would never want. But I do have to say it's deadly. The CDC now says that their 2017 estimates are that 71,000 people in our country, in America, died of overdoses in 1 year, in 2017. In 2016, it was 64,000. So we're not going in the right direction. There's a lot of very dangerous drugs on the street. So we have to hold people who are reaching for recovery themselves in our hearts and with our Judaism and our love, and we have to hold their families also, and we have to be with people when they lose people to the disease, just like we're with people who lose people to other diseases like cancer. So I want to thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom.
לשבח. עלינו
לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא עשנו כמשפחת האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב לקרוב בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, בידעת היום, והשב אותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. At this point of our service, we take a moment to recognize mourners among our congregation. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, please rise. If you're doing the first 30 days of mourning, Shloishim, please rise. If you are doing the cycle of the first year of mourning, please rise.
My Aunt Jennifer Fogarty.
If you have a yahrzeit this week, please rise. An anniversary of death. Luis? Luis? You can support our fellows now while standing or sitting, joining us with your voices and your hearts for Mourners Kaddish on page 598. And in this special Shabbat, Serenity Shabbat, we also remember those that die from addictions, for this terrible illness. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי הרבה, מה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובמכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב באמרו, יש שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה יתברך. בריחו. אמן. יש למה לא נשמע. אמן. עושה שלום ליום רבה. May the memories of your dear ones be a living blessing in your life. Zichronam lebracha. You may be seated. So, a couple of announcements. So first, thank you, Marla, Cindy, families. Sure, announce. Marla wants to say a few more words. So.
I got so emotional that I forgot to do these announcements, so thank you. First of all, we have 4 Serenity Shabbats a year, and the last one for this year is at Congregation B'nai Israel on Saturday, November 10th. They're open to everybody. And we already have 3 synagogues committed for 2019, so that's with dates and everything. And also I want to mention that the Jewish Collaborative of Orange County, and you can see Scott, will you raise your hand? See Scott afterwards at the Oneg if you want more information. I want to announce 2 things that they're doing. One is Serenity Slichot. They're having a special Slichot service, not on the traditional Slichot day, but on Tuesday, September 4th at Temple Isaiah in Newport Beach. So it'll be a special recovery slichot service.
Very nice.
And also, the 3rd Saturday afternoon of every month, there's a group of people in recovery and their loved ones and friends who gather to discuss recovery principles and Jewish spirituality. And you can go to Jewish Collaborative's website, and the dates are all there. It's the 3rd Saturday of the month in the afternoon. From like 3 to 5 o'clock. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that.
Thank you very much. Shar koach. So, a couple of announcements after the other announcements. Tomorrow morning, we will get together for Torah study at 9 and services at 10 a.m. We have a very special lunch and learn. We will welcome Dr. Shihad Tark. Dr. Tark will talk about diversity inside the Islamic world. I strongly encourage you to come and learn, and to learn from a first source. Let me do a very short exercise with you, and you will understand what I'm talking about. Do you know what is the name of the Islamic law? Sharia law. Okay, so most of you know. So what is the name of the Jewish law? You heard me saying that on Wednesday, and now you have it in like fresh. The reality, and this is a very sad reality, I have checked that a couple of times. Most Jews don't know the name of our legal code. We know a lot of things about the Islamic world that we learn on Facebook. We know very little about ourselves. And one of the things that we do in terms of getting to know the divine presence is to know the diversity of humanity. So I encourage you to join us tomorrow. If you haven't RSVP, just tell Miriam that you are coming, and we'll find you a place on our table. Miriam's table is always have more spaces. So let her know and join us. So that's tomorrow lunch at 6 p.m. We will have Havaya School open house. So if you have children, grandchildren that are relevant for our school, please join us. I want to say, even if your grandchildren, they come to visit you once a month, and they are like the entire weekend, and they are like 3 or 4 hours that you don't really know what to do with them, you actually can bring them to shul. And we have a way to help you out with that. So I encourage you to come to our open house. Men's Club will also host a barbecue for those that join us. So it will be really, really nice. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Next week, 2 important events. And I'm not talking about Labor Day weekend. Yes, it's Labor Day weekend. But you know what? We come to shul anyway, those that are in town. Now, on the 31st, we will introduce our rabbinical intern, Ilana Ravisho. So if you want to hear Torah from a very young and wise person, I encourage you to come to shul on Friday night and to hear what Ilana has to say. It's going to be her first sermon at Temple Beth Tikvah. So let's be a supportive community. Let's be here and smile and listen to her and do all those things that I usually don't have every now and again. So let's do that together. Let's help and let's support Ilana as she becomes a rabbi and also as she nurtures our community with her wisdom. Saturday night, what happens a week before the high holidays? Slichot. So we Ashkenazis and Reform Jews, yeah, that's right, you're Taimani. Forgot that, Tony. Well, so here's the thing. The Sephardic Jews, they go and do Slichot every day during the month of Elul, Tony. So you better for this custom, and you know, Tony, it's actually in the middle of the night. It's cool, for 1 or 2 nights, but they take it seriously. So in this case, I think that Reform Judaism has a wonderful variety of customs from the Ashkenazi world and from the Sephardic world. In this case, I think that we need to say we Ashkenazi. We definitely follow the Ashkenazi custom. We do it once, 2 hours, and we get it done. So, but we are going to do that with some Sephardic melodies. So good deal. So I encourage you to come on Saturday night and to join us for Slichot. And with all that information, what? And Gaby's asking me to share that Gaby was accepted to Cantoya School, so congratulations. I didn't know when we were allowed to share that, so yes.
I got the letter today.
So she is officially accepted into Cantoya School. So we will conclude our service singing together. Please rise. We have here at TVT the custom of connecting with each other. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ashkivenu, Shalom, Ashkivenu.
Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ashkivenu, Leshalom, Ve'hamidenu, Shomrenu lechaim, Ufros aleinu, Sukat shomrecha, Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ashkivenu, Shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Once again. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. May God inspire you and inspire us to be in loving relationship with each other, in loving understanding with each other, and may we become a shelter for all those that need us the most. Adonai os lamo iten, Adonai yevarech et amo bashalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yai, 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 yai. 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 Yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, Leshalom. And one more moment of your attention. One more moment of attention. Let's do Kiddush. ויחול השמיים בארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי וחברותיי, שאי לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ברצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים. And Tony, hold this. Raise it. Perfect. פותח את ידיך ומצביע לכל חי רצון. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לכת מן הארץ ותיאבון. Good Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Nico. You did a great job.
Thank you very much.
I knew you would.
That's right.